you go. Okay, I'm going to put you guys on gallery.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, now we can see. Oh, there's Nuria. Hi, Nuria. So as hopefully you all can tell, we're at Saladana. There's Carlos and Jesus, I think, is in the bathroom. This will be our maiden mixed media Sunday Sangha. But we're still gonna, it's funny, I've been in here so much over the last few days, putting in the Wi-Fi, fixing the lights, stuff like that. Now I get a transition to leading a meditation, which I'm so excited. This feels so much better, I'll tell you. Doing it by, no wonder there's only like 2 people left. I mean, doing it by Zoom was so hard. I did it for a year, and steadily the number of people, dropped. It's like, people are just like, okay, I've had enough.
Hey, Jim, are we gonna be able to participate in the Saladana, like to be there physically any soon?
Yeah, I also set up a meetup even for today. Yeah, you could have come today.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
Yeah, I set it up for 10. So
okay.
For at least the next month while I'm here, a little more than a month, up to 10 will be present.
Okay.
And then we'll also stream.
That's great. Good, good.
Yeah. And then once we figure out all the logistics too, we're hoping to be able to stream in teachers. This is so weird. I'm so used to speaking to the computer, even though I have 2 live human beings here. But you guys don't mind, right? It doesn't seem weird. I'm just like talking to that. But yeah, like, maybe Chema or, even somebody from another country, and then we'll try to get them up on the big screen.
Okay,
We haven't quite figured all that out yet. Oh, you know what I need? Oh, there it is. I need a bell, and I got a big one. Mama, a bell. There we go. Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, it's this Saladana, and I take no credit. This was grace, absolutely grace. But it is so beautiful. I mean, it's just amazing. It's so nice. And things just always fall together. Believe me, we'll meditate soon, don't worry. Like the Wi-Fi people left me 30 meters of fiber, the cable, right? But it allowed me to then put the router at the very back of the room, and you can't even see the wires. It's all up on the ceiling. I didn't have to do anything complicated, just hide it. It's behind the shelves. It's like everything is always fit just perfectly. There's a plug right there, so you can see 30 centimeters of cable, nada más. I don't like cables. I don't like wires. Okay. All right. So it'd be nice. I wish I could see you guys bigger on the screen.
There's one thing we can do is you can turn around, but I don't know if that makes sense in the hall.
I know. I thought of that, like back to you guys, but I think I need another one. Or I need a mirror there or something. Okay. All right. Believe it or not, we are now going to meditate. And yes, you guys can all come, up to 10 next week. So just to give you a little preview or forewarning, for the last 10 minutes, again, I wanted to offer the practice of awareness, or natural awareness, or residing in your awareness. You're in your consciousness, in your experience. So that'll come at about the 20-minute mark after we do a little bit of samatha practice. Okay. ¿Hay preguntas, dudas? No? Okay. When you mark, get set, go. So we find our comfortable posture. Allowing the posture itself, the body, send a message to the mind that we're going to meditate now. We're going to relax and let go of the day. For Anna Monica, the early morning. And so let's try to find our body. Create an embodied presence. So as we've been studying over the last weeks, we can use body scans, of which in the Buddha's time, they offered various body scans that Bhikkhu Analayo has really made kind of the moda, made them popular again. So why don't we try the first one we did, which is going through the body, recognizing, remembering that there's skin, flesh, and bones. This is what this body is composed of. So let's start with the head. La cabeza. And just recognizing, acknowledging that there is skin in the head, on the head. And so the word is brief, and the majority of the time we want to try to feel the head, sense the head, and maybe even sense the skin of the head. And dropping to the neck, there is skin. The shoulders, there is skin. The upper arms, the lower arms, the hands, all the skin. Going to the upper torso, your chest area, upper back, there is skin. The belly and lower back, the hips, all the skin. The upper legs, the lower legs, the feet, skin. Recognizing that this body is covered in skin. So let's make our way back up the body. Recalling now, this time, that there's flesh meat, carne, in the feet, the lower legs, the upper legs, flesh, the hips, the lower torso, flesh, the upper torso, the chest, the shoulder blades, flesh, the hands, the lower arms, the upper arms, all with flesh. The shoulders, the neck, flesh, the head, flesh. So recalling, reminding ourselves that this body is made of flesh, consists of flesh, skin and flesh, and now bones. Starting with the head, recalling that there are bones. The neck, bone. The shoulders, bone. The upper arms, the lower arms, the hands, bones. The upper torso, the lower torso, bones. The hips, bone. The upper leg, the lower leg, the feet, all with bone. And just feeling this body made of skin, flesh, and bone, subject to decay, all impermanent, all of a nature to disappear. So from here you can continue either to do body scans if you like, or use the entire body as an anchor for your attention, or go to the breath. This is your practice, using the breath at any given spot, the belly, the chest, the nostrils, or the whole body breathing. And if either of those are uncomfortable, you can use sounds or the process of hearing as an anchor. So we just try to calm our mind down, train our mind, remind our mind to keep coming back to the present moment, coming back to experience, and letting thoughts, thinking go. You can, however, use little words, wholesome thinking to help you track your practice. Give yourself a little encouragement. Be gentle with yourself. That kind of thinking is all perfectly fine. But it's when we get lost in thought and suddenly we're far away. That's when we want to bring ourselves back to the body, back to the breath, back to the present moment. If you are experiencing some sticky thought, difficult to let go even for a couple breaths, don't fight with it. One thing you can do is just try to drop your attention into the body and see if you can find any physical sensation, emotional sensation that might be connected to that thought. And if you find something, just try to stay with it as long as you can and see if that loosens up the thought process a bit. So if you are feeling a little more centered, maybe the mind a little more calm, and you'd like to explore the practice that we often call awareness of awareness, just give a couple brief instructions. And you can also just continue with the samatha practice of working with a single object, single anchor. So with the awareness of awareness, we can often enter it by asking ourselves, what is the mind aware of right now? Or you can even use the first person. What am I aware of right now? Or what am I experiencing right now? Or even what is known right now? So for me, there's sensation in the leg. There's sound. There's some tingling in my hands. There's the sensation of the mask on my face and mouth. So we can name them if we want, but using just the experience, feeling, sensing, hearing, breathing, which is really just a sensing. Try not to make up a story about what it is, but just what am I knowing right now? What is the mind knowing? What am I experiencing? And then just see if you can rest in that knowing. Just kind of open up and just be aware. It's like we're not clinging to anything, we're not pushing anything away. We're just noticing whatever is present. Of course, like the samatha thinking can really get in the way of our being aware of what we're experiencing. But once we notice that we're thinking, we're then mindful again, we're then present again. And so we just be aware of that. There was thinking. So, wherever your mind may have been, let's let that go as it is in the past. And come back to the body. Try to reconnect to the physical form. Then bring your attention, your awareness to your heart center. Maybe give yourself a little gracias, a little thank you for your practice, for taking time out of your day on this Sunday to nurture yourself in this way, to care for yourself, your mind, your heart. And recognizing that this is not a selfish practice. It can maybe seem like that sometimes, but it's probably no better way for us to be kind and compassionate to those around us than to take care of ourselves like this. And then just imagine that you can radiate out a sense of goodwill, metta, a sense of karuna, compassion, even mudita, sympathetic joy in all directions, touching those on this call and here in Saladana and beyond. And when you hear the sound of the bell, just as always, being aware of what arises. Thank you very much. Show you guys the big bell. Can you see the big bell? This one foot fell asleep. Well, thank you. That was very nice to have kind of mixed media meditation this Sunday. What I thought I would talk about a little bit, and I didn't prepare my computer for any share screen, but maybe I can get at the one list I wanted pretty quickly. You know, we have been covering a little bit of Bhikkhu Analayo's teachings, and consecutively the next one was death. And this is a big part of his practice. I understand that he even sleeps in a casket, right? I guess to remind himself that, you know, in a way we're already dead, I guess. He's quite a character. But rather than get into that tonight, I wanted to pick up also on what I've been hearing recently from different teachers. So like even this weekend, there was a Zoom retreat mostly for Spaniards coming out of the UK, teacher by the name of Bodhidharma, and then Nacho did the translation. And it was quite beautiful, and I was able to get in there a couple times between installing Wi-Fi and so forth. And then there was also a retreat yesterday that I did. It was a half day. It was really nice, and Anna Monica was on it for a little while too. And it's a Spanish-speaking teacher from California who works with Gil Fronsdale, and she's part of that same Sangha. And then she's created this Latina Sangha, Sangha Latina. And so it's mostly, you know, California and then Central and South America. And so then there was a European group that was led by this young guy, but I just love this guy. His name is Bernat Font. He's got another name, of course. Just can't remember. Bernat Font. But he went to the Bodhi College in England with Stephen Batchelor, and he speaks Pali, Spanish, Catalan, and English. And he's just got this amazing way about him. And so then he led a European group, and then we overlapped for about 3 hours. So we had the two teachers together, and then the people from the Americas and then Europe. And it was really nice. And we broke out into small groups. I had this couple from Colombia who live in the Campo and stuff to talk to. And so the theme, and I don't know so much about what the theme was for Bodhidhammas, but the theme of this Latina Sangha group was joy. And especially how to cultivate joy during these challenging times, right, that we're living through. And then reading further on in Bhikkhu Analayo's book, so Past Death, you then get to the 7 factors of awakening, which is kind of where I wanted to go at the beginning. And it turns out, you know, he goes there too, because it's part of the 4th foundation of mindfulness. And in the 7 factors of awakening are joy. It's right there. It's the 4th of the factors, the 3rd of the energizing factors. We call it piti. And you probably have heard me say that many times, piti. And so how do we cultivate piti? Because it is, to me, probably the best engancho that there is in terms of meditating. If you can generate some piti, it can be quite addicting because it feels good. And there's nothing wrong with that. It isn't like this should not feel good. It should. And, you know, there's various ways of cultivating piti, but probably the very best way to do it is with concentration, or maybe better said, with some space between thought, where we're just resting in awareness, or we're resting with our breath, or we're resting with our body. And if you can get little spaces there, little gaps of not thinking, piti will start to arise on its own. And then the idea is to start to pay attention to it. Let it become the object. Let it become the anchor. And then, because it's so pleasant, theoretically, we should be able to pay attention to it more because we like it, right? And for some people, there's a word I know for people who can't like anything, you know, they don't like pleasure. Can't remember what the word is, but hopefully we're not that. You know, we want it, we like it, we pay attention to it, and then the mind focuses even more, which produces more. And if it really gets strong and the concentration really gets strong and well-founded, then what arises is sukha, which is happiness. And a couple times I've had sukha where it like put a smile on my face. I could not have not smiled. I mean, you know, it's like one of those times when you're just laughing and you can't stop, you know. Now that it's harder to generate sukha. If you got really good concentration, maybe not, but for most people, it's harder to get to sukha. But piti is very accessible. We just have to get some space in the mind, you know, not so much thinking. That obsessive thinking is not going to produce joy. I'm sorry. Now the mind thinks it will, or the mind, like mine, it thinks it has to go through my to-do list first before I can have any piti. there's like 40 things on my to-do list, right? So it takes at least 40 minutes or whatever before I finally, my mind is, okay, I can let go of this. Now, hopefully you don't have so many things on your list, or you can let go of these things more easily. But our mind tends towards survival, right? We have a negativity bias. We think of all the things that might go wrong first. This is just kind of how the mind works. And this is what one of the things we're trying to train the mind not to do that so much. It is an instinctive response, but we can train it to keep coming back to the present moment. We don't even have to really think about good things. We just come back to the present moment, quiet the mind down, maybe get a few breaths of not thinking, and then the piti will start to come. Now, they call it joy, which I've always struggled a little bit with that, because that seems like an emotional state to me. Like happiness seems very emotional. My experience with piti mostly has been physical, in that it's a physical sensation that I find very pleasant, even pleasurable at times. Now, I guess theoretically, if you have pleasant feeling sensation in the body, this can create a joyful emotion, right? And so maybe that's another word that piti is often translated is rapture, rapture, right? Now that one seems even more kind of wow, like this to me. And, I'm not sure even if that's an emotional state. I don't know what the heck that is. But that's kind of rare to me that happens. Usually it's more subtle than that. It can get in a retreat situation, or if it's your first time in a long time of meditating, or you're super concentrated, yes, it can whoosh, really come on strong. And some people will have stories about feeling like they're even floating, But usually in a 30-minute, 32-minute meditation like we do on Sundays, or whatever your home practice is, it's probably just going to be a little tingling, Or I know they're hormigueos or cosquilleos or whatever in Spanish, but they're just kind of this little, what it reminds me of, or what I make up, is that it's like the cells are relaxing. Each cell in the body is just relaxing. And as it relaxes, there's just this kind of pleasant feeling to the relaxing. Because like for me especially, I'm very tense. I hate to say this, I'm almost embarrassed, but I'll say it anyways. Gil Fronsdale, the guy who has the center where Andrea Castillo teaches, the lady that was doing the Sangha Latina, he one time on a Zoom call, he said to me, he goes, "You seem desperate." I'm like, who in the heck wants to be told they're desperate? That just sounds terrible. But, maybe it's so. I don't know. Maybe I'm desperate, for many things. But I'm definitely tense. I am a wound up person, I'm very wound up tight. So when I relax, that unwinding can feel super good. Now for me, maybe I'm kind of lucky to be wound up so tight, because when I can get going the other direction, there's a reward. It feels good. I remember the first time I meditated, I was 20 years old, and I'm like, oh my God, does this feel good? I can't wait to make my money, and then I'm going to meditate. That's what I said. I was 20, sleeping on my friend's couch because I didn't even have enough money for an apartment. So this is something, it's probably not, for some of us, it is probably not consistent with how we've been raised, with our causes and conditions, right? To indulge in something that's pleasant, indulge in something that's good, that's hedonistic or selfish or whatever. But in Buddhism, that isn't the case. It's about being happy. This is the goal. I mean, the Dalai Lama even said that. He goes, the purpose of life is to be happy. It's like, okay, I can kind of go for that purpose. And, metta, like for instance, on my call with this Colombian couple, she recited an experience where she was on retreat and she did metta for 40 minutes. Okay, it was a long sit, it was a metta practice, and she just whoosh, man, she said she really felt it. So you can also do it with metta, repeating the phrases. It's assisted by concentration. But again, a mindful concentration, a relaxed concentration, not a drill down and I'm going to figure out this mathematical problem concentration. Very relaxed, like what we tend to do. And just transition a little bit to the 7 factors. So you've got seven, of which mindfulness is the first one, and that's like the base, that's the foundation. And then they often use like a teeter-totter as a simile for the other 6, because 3 of them are energizing factors and 3 of them are relaxing, calming factors, right? And so we want to be balanced. Bhikkhu Analayo calls it equipoise, equanimidad, but equipoise is maybe a little equilibrio, maybe. We want to be balanced. So if there's too much piti, because it's an energizing factor, then you're going to get kind of out of whack and the piti will go away, right? So you want to balance that. And I think so it balances with samadhi, or no. I think it balances with equanimity. That would be kind of weird, but let me just try to remember how they work. So the first one is investigation, and that one balances with tranquility. And then there's the energy factor that balances with samadhi. So I guess piti, balances with equanimity. So when it gets too intense, we want to kind of balance it out. We want to kind of relax, maybe breathe a little bit into it and kind of find that midpoint. And if we can find it, and I know again on a 30-minute sit, it's not going to happen, but in retreat, if you find it just right, this is what can lead to the deeper levels of absorption, where then it gets really nice. And those are very difficult for us because we live busy lives with a lot of stuff in our brains. It's not like we're a monk living in a cave where our mind has less to worry about. But they are there, and they're part of the Noble Eightfold Path. They're part of right samadhi. They're right there in the last factor. So yeah, maybe I'll kind of stop there. And okay, I'm going to say one more thing. So kind of the idea behind the 7 factors of awakening, and I really think this is, what I'm going to do? I'm going to see if I can very quickly find it. I don't want to take too much time looking for it, but let's see. Okay, I found it fairly quickly. I know my computer. So you guys can see it, right? Okay. Oh yeah, thank you. I can see it right there. So here's our 7 factors. So the first one, as I mentioned, is mindfulness. And without that, we're nowhere. And again, mindfulness being, you could say a bare awareness, a bare attention, but it's a form of attention where there's no greed, there's no hatred, and there's no confusion. So if you really want piti, if you really want it, that greed in the mind, the want, will probably prevent you from being mindful, and you won't get it. You really kind of have to allow it to happen. by just paying attention in a kind, open way. So we have our mindfulness, we have our investigations, often called investigation of the Dhammas. And I like this step a lot. I was on this step really for years, where I thought I had to investigate every darn thing, including what happened to me when I was a child or whatever. A lot of that stuff really isn't that important now, I realize. Usually what investigation is pointing to is there greed, hatred, or delusion in the mind, or any of the hindrances, the 5 hindrances, which we've also talked to, present, right? And these are teachers, but we can also use them in this step. And this step generates energy. It generates interest. It generates curiosity. So that's our next step, energy. And then that follows with piti, the rapture, which could just as easily and maybe better, let's see, called joy. So these are these 3, 2 through 4 are what are called the energizing factors. Okay, they bring the energy up, they bring the interest up, they bring the curiosity up, they keep the attention. And so then we have our calming factors. And like I said, these balance each other out. But you have tranquility or calm. You could also translate the 5th one as calm. And then samadhi, concentration. And then it ends in equanimity, this equipose, where we are not so easily riled up, right? Where our response to life isn't disproportionate to whatever happened. It's appropriate. It's that appropriate response. And this doesn't mean that, we're bored. Not at all, because the joy is still there. But, if you're walking down the street and somebody bumps into you or whatever, you're not like, hey, like that. Instead, you just kind of notice the sensation maybe on the body. Maybe there's a little word inside the heart. I hope that person has a better day today, or whatever, and you keep on going. You're equanimous. There they are in Spanish, which are hardly any different than English. Now, in this course I'm taking, which is actually finished now, I think, Francisco, who assists Bhikkhu Analayo, he mentioned something that I thought was kind of interesting, and I'm going to say it now, and if I'm wrong, I'm going to find out, and then I will correct myself if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am. These 7 factors are onward leading, right? They're leading to the end of suffering. And this is really the goal. The goal is the end of suffering. But the first kind of step is to become what's called a stream enter. That sounds weird. A stream enter? Can you say that as a word? I've hardly started speaking Spanish again because I'm back here in Madrid and I already can't speak English. Doesn't matter. Speaking, thinking, it's all overrated. Forget it. So once we enter the stream, then we're on the path. Kind of like we're definitely on the path. We're inside, adentro del camino. And so these 7 factors lead us there. And then once we're there, we're on our way. We're on our way. And hopefully in our lifetime, or maybe some lifetime soon, we will see the end of our suffering. Okay, that was all I wanted to just add that this is probably the most essential list that I know of. I mean, the 4 foundations of mindfulness too, and this is within that. But I like this list the best in terms of the onward leading lists. I really can follow it. I followed it in my retreat. And we can use it in our daily lives even, really. Okay, I'm going to stop with that. Are there any questions? Anybody want to hear their voice at the level of Saladana? Because we have the speakers on, so you will hear yourself. Or have a question? And I see myself on a side angle here, so I think that's what Carlos did. Oh, it says Saladana. How nice.
I use my mobile phone here.
Well, look at that. The Buddha's holding it. Look at the Buddha's holding the phone.
I may try to ask a question.
Okay, thank you.
Well, when being trying to be aware of awareness, should it add anything if we go a little bit more further and ask, for example, I'm hearing a sound. Should we stop there, recognizing it, or does it add anything to continue and say, well, okay, this sound is pleasant or unpleasant? Does it add anything? Is it okay? Go
No.
for that? No.
Because I think what will happen at that moment is you will go from being aware of awareness, being aware of hearing, to then like listening to the sound. Now there's an object, and you've kind of moved away from resting in awareness to focusing on the object. And so I would say just notice that there's hearing, even if it's pleasant or unpleasant or whatever. Just notice that there's hearing and just try to stay with that knowing, that experience, and don't chase after the object. You know, if you want to follow objects, including sounds, you could do a samatha practice or even a vipassana practice with them. But with the awareness of awareness, we really just want to stay in the knowing, stay in the experience without, you know, it's a more receptive state, and we're not reaching out at objects. And don't, you know, if you do, don't worry. You just notice that you did, and then you just kind of bring your awareness, your attention kind of back in, back receptive, and just be like that.
All right.
But a very nice question. Thank you for the question.
Okay, another one. This time is about pity. So once, well, good chat you gave us. Good. So once you are being aware that you are getting pity, maybe to me at least, I want to have more and more and more. But many times, always, all the time, you know, I think that my mind gets bored and start to be distracted. Maybe that is because I have agreed for pity that I lost the concentration. What should I do? I mean, should I start changing the object, or try to continue to get more pity so that I get then sukha and then kagata and so on? What should I do?
I tell you, the greed, you know, the wanting, it's a sure way to not get it. It'll just, you know,
Kill it.
There's no better way to not get what you want than to want it. I know it's sort of counterintuitive, but I totally get what you're saying about getting bored, you know, and kind of wanting it to fill that sort of void. And what I try to do is just, again, using the awareness of awareness. I really like using that one, a more broad awareness, and try not to fixate on it too much. Just be aware of it as present, and just stay in that awareness. And if you can stay in the awareness, if you can stay in the knowing, and if you can stay away from the grasping, it will either grow or something else might happen. It might kind of go away, but it'll be replaced by a very pleasant stillness that can be quite nice as well. Very, very nice. And it's very still, it's very quiet, and the mind, rather than moving all around like this, is just kind of going like that. It's barely moving. And you don't even need to be in jhana to have that. The awareness of awareness can lead you to that. But beautiful awareness on your part and the investigation of the Dhammas, that's really what you've done there. Noticing the boredom, noticing the grasping, the greed, that's all wonderful stuff. That's exactly one reason why we practice, to get to know the nature of the mind. Yeah. And, don't, and, it doesn't sound like you're doing this, but I'll add it just to make sure. We don't want to be hard on ourselves. Like, real quickly, let's see, what time is it? Yeah, real quickly, I'll tell my story of today's practice, where, because my to-do list has been long and my mind needs to think about them all, I felt frustration. And I'd been already sitting about 40 minutes, literally, this morning. And I felt this frustration. And so I decided to find the frustration, feel the frustration, be with the frustration. It was gone in 10 seconds, 20 seconds. And then within a couple minutes, I had like 10, 15 minutes of just nice, still meditation. So we just, we've got enough training now. We know good tools to use, good tricks to use. Of course, our mind still has its ideas, right? It has its old habits, being bored, wanting more, whatever. But we just put them in place, put in the tools in place, try again. As they say, get back on the horse, just try again. And you never know. My meditation today was headed towards lemons. You guys have that? Are lemons considered like bad? Like if you buy a bad car, it's a lemon. In America, if it's a lemon, that means it's bad. I bought a lemon of a car, And so the joke is you can turn the lemons into lemonade, right, with a little sugar. And that's what happened today, where I thought my meditation was headed to pure lemons, and then it ended up one of my best meditations for the week. Just because I put to work some of the things that I know work, that the teachers have told me. So yeah, just keep doing it, and and you kind of experiment. You get to know what works for you, what works for your mind, what your mind likes, and we keep training it. We keep training it. I hope that answered your question, Luis.
Oh yes, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Okay, well, does anybody else want to hear their voice in Saladana? If not, we'll do a little metta. Anna Monica, do you have your metta at hand, or should I do it?
I can do a metta. I don't have anything prepared, but sure.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
Hopefully I won't be interrupted by Sage, who's walking over here. Cat. Come here, Sage. Okay, so let's see. We'll just show you really quickly. She is often my benefactor, Sage,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
who is easy for me to feel love and care for. Okay, well, so close your eyes, get comfortable in your body. Maybe a deep exhale, inhale and exhale. And I'm already smiling, so bring to mind someone in your life for whom it is easy to feel care, easy to feel love, easy to want nothing but the best for them. And say to them in your mind, may you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe and protected. May you be free. And then bring yourself to mind. Maybe at one of your happiest moments as a child, or just today at this moment. And bring that loving attention to yourself. Think, may I be well? May I be happy? May I be at ease? May I be free? And then a neutral person, someone who you cross paths with regularly or on the street, just someone going about their day. And think, may you be well. May you be happy. May you be at ease. And then all beings, the four-legged, the two-legged, the winged ones, the trees, the grasses, all the people, known and unknown, near and far, just expanding your loving awareness as far as it'll extend. I've been listening to some of Ram Dass's teachings put to music, and his guidance is simply love everything in your awareness. So as much as you're able, to everything within your awareness, may you be well. May you be happy. May you be at ease. May you be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May any obstacles to your freedom dissolve. May your heart be liberated. And I'll just continue and if it's all right, dedicate the merit of our practice. We gather all of the good from the time we've shared together. We contribute it to each of us, to everyone, with the wish that everyone, everywhere, be well, be happy, be free, have enough to eat, and as Krishna Das says at the end of his gatherings, be at peace with everything that comes to us in this life. Bell.
Thank you, Anna Monica, and thank you all for coming, and thank you guys for Paciencia. Is that it? Paciencia. Bonito. So yeah, we're for at least the next 4, if not 5 Sundays, we'll do this hybrid version where we'll have up to 10 people present in Saladana, and then we'll do it with Zoom and looped YouTube too. And so I don't do, does anybody, you guys on Zoom, do you want to have a little group to chat, or you want to just chat? Maybe I'll turn off the YouTube. Anna Monica might be sending me that.